Good afternoon, everyone. For today's lesson, we are going to talk about Republic Act No. 6713, an act establishing a code of conduct and ethical standards for public officials and employees. This Republic Act contains 17 sections, which will be discussed by yours truly, Group 5. And now let's have our first section.
Section 1 type is clearly states that a code of conduct and ethical standards for public officials and employees shall be the name of this act.
Section 2, which is the declaration of policies, it states that public officials and employees shall at all times be accountable to the people and shall discharge their duties with utmost responsibility, integrity, competence, and loyalty, act with patriotism and justice, lead modest lives, and uphold public interests over personal interests.
Section 3. This section contains a definition of terms used in this act. This includes government, public officials, gift, receiving any gift, loan, substantial stockholder, family of public officials or employees, person, conflict of interest, divestment, and relatives.
Section 4. Every public official and employee shall observe commitment to public interest, professionalism, justness and sincerity, political neutrality, responsiveness to the public, nationalism and patriotism, commitment to democracy, and simple living. Section 5. Duties of public officials and employees. This states that in the performance of their duties, all public officials and employees are under obligation to act promptly on letters and requests, submit annual performance reports, process documents and papers expeditiously, act immediately on the public's personal transactions, and lastly, make documents accessible to the public.
For the Section 6, it shall be the task of this committee to conduct a periodic continuing review of the performance of public officials and employees in all branches of agencies of government and established.
Section 7, prohibited acts and transactions. In addition to the acts and omissions of public officials and employees now prescribed in the Constitution and existing laws, the following shall constitute prohibited acts and transactions of any public official and employee and are hereby declared to be unlawful.
Section 8. All public officials and employees required under this section to file the documents such as may show their assets, liabilities, net worth, and also their business interests and financial connections, possible the year when they first assume any office in government.
Section 9 divestment. Within 30 days from his assumption of office and/or divest himself, it states that the public employee or official must always avoid having conflicts of interest. In the event of a conflict of interest, he must resign from his position in any private commercial firm within 60 days of that assumption.
In the Section 10 Review and Compliance Procedure, it is stated that any reviews and procedures are subject to the approval of Secretary of Justice is the individual to whom an opinion is rendered in the case of the Executive Department and the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court in the case of Judicial Department. In Section 11, penalties, overall, if the violation is punishable by a heavier penalty under another law, he shall be prosecuted under the latter statute, and another sanction hereunder or under any other law is heavier, the latter shall be applied.
For the Section 12, the Civil Service Commission shall have the primary responsibility for the administration and enforcement of this act. It shall transmit all cases for prosecution arising from violation of this act.
Section 13. Provisions for more stringent standards. Nothing in this act shall be construed to derogate from any law or any regulations prescribed by any body or agency which provides for more stringent standards for its official and employees.
Section 14 appropriation. Section 14 states that the sum required for this act's efficient execution shall be deducted from the Civil Service Commission's appropriations. Afterwards, whatever more sum required for its continuous implementation shall be a part of the Annual General Appropriations Act.
Section 15. If any provision of this act or the application of such provision to any person or circumstances is declared invalid.
Section 16. Repealing clause. All laws, decrees, and orders, or parts thereof inconsistent herewith, are deemed repealed or modified accordingly, unless the same provide for a heavier penalty.
Section 17, effectivity. This act shall take effect after 30 days following the completion of its publication in the Official Gazette or in 2 national newspapers of general circulation.